I chose journalism because I felt like it was an opportunity to do something I was good at, which is writing, but also to do something that had a positive impact on the world. So I was in high school and grade school as the country was going through Watergate. We saw the impact that really good journalism could have on dealing with a bad situation. The first job I got was at a twice-a-week newspaper on Cape Cod that literally still used manual typewriters. This was 1984. And I was making $250 a week. One of the drawbacks of going to a school that didn't have a journalism program was, there wasn't like a pipeline into bigger newspapers. I went to the smallest newspapers, and because I didn't have the credentials, but I covered local communities, I covered small towns, and that was a great training ground. I was young and very excited. But the big difference working for a big city newspaper is resources. They have the ability to send you to cover stories, or they did. I mean, they don't do it as much anymore. But you also pretty quickly develop an appreciation for how much influence you can have, not so much in terms of shaping things the way you want them to be, but you have to be fair and you have to be accurate because your stories were read by so many people. So if you were on page one of the paper, there were several million people who were seeing that story, and it's a great ego boost and it's really exciting. But you also, it can be a little bit nerve-wracking because if you make a mistake, it's pretty embarrassing. When Lee Miglin was killed in Chicago, it was a big crime story, and everybody assumed it was like a random strong-arm robbery. Then he left Chicago and killed somebody else in New Jersey. Then it became kind of a national story. So this is all long before he killed Versace, when it became an international story. We were assigned to write a profile of somebody that we could never interview and we had never met. And so that was a real challenge and really kind of exciting because he was a well-known fugitive. The people that I was interviewing knew him really well and also knew that it seemed like he was now a murderer. And so there was a lot of anguish and stress, and people, you kind of had to you had to work hard to separate the sort of legend that was already growing about him from facts. He was a lifetime sort of liar, poser, hanger-on, gold digger kind of person who sort of somehow snapped. It's the kind of thing that they're making movies about, and you were reporting on it in real time. Loyola has a nice little group of adjunct professors who are still, have one foot in the business and one foot in academia. So I gave it a try and liked it. What is important to pass along to people? The real qualities of a good journalist aren't whether they, know the AP style for Chicago. It's whether they are fully committed to really finding out the truth and finding and telling really compelling, important, interesting stories.